Brian, it looked like you sought out Michael after the ceremony. You had a moment with him. What was that like for you? And can you share anything about what you guys said?
Yeah, because it was so much chaos going on after we all kind of split. I did not want to lose the opportunity to shake the man's hand that inspired me throughout my childhood. Haven't had much dialogue with him in my 20 years or 19 years in this business, but part of me wouldn't be here without MJ's inspiration. I always wanted to be like him growing up. It's crazy that the game-winning shot tonight was a fadeaway, and it was inspired by MJ. The way he wore his shoes, the way he wore his uniform. I mean, all the way down to like some of the cars that he drove. How much he inspired me, and I didn't want to waste that opportunity because we're just not in the same building a lot, and haven't been in the same building a lot throughout my career, and it meant something to me.
Players were you growing up studying and idolizing?
Dog, Penny was my dude.
Of course.
Penny,
Killer.
Harder. You couldn't tell me shit about Anthony Penny Hardaway, bro.
Y'all kind of similar.
Yeah.
Why you think that's why we're number one?
Yeah,
That's why we're
I never knew that. I never knew that.
That's why we're number one. My dog, that was my Michael Jordan, bro, growing up. Because you gotta think, he played for the Magic. I grew up 30 miles right down the street, so I watched him every single day. And bro, Penny, man, Penny was the truth, bro.
Hell yeah,
Lord.
people don't
Penny,
forget. They forget how cold Penny would have been one of the greatest players,
Ever.
hands down, if had it not been
Ever.
injury.
Yes, sir.
Penny
Yes,
was
sir.
a killer.
So that was my dude, man. Footwork, passing ability. He was cold, man.
Man, Penny was the truth.
Growing up in the NBA that you admire?
LeBron James.
So I would assume that LeBron is the matchup that you're looking forward to, or is there a certain player that you're looking forward to facing?
Yeah, of course, because I always looked at him as like my idol, so I'm looking forward for that.
My favorite player that ever played the game was Michael Jordan, just because of his the way he dominated games, his style of play, his aggressiveness, and I liked his flash as well.
Specifically in terms of how he got his shots moving out the ball, just his kind of savviness, using his body. His unorthodox shot was something I never really tried to idolize, but in terms of just having that confidence and being able to repeat the same motion over and over.
Who, in your opinion, really plays professional basketball the way you like to see it played?
Well, it's the doctor. And yes. And I think there's Kareem, and I can go on and on. Iceman, and I could keep going. Isaiah Thomas, and there's just a number of guys that I love to watch and admire because they play hard and give their best.
It's got to be Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain done so much for the game. Only man to score 100 points. One of my all-time favorite players. Me meeting Wilt Chamberlain is probably one of the most memorable days in my life, along with draft and some other personal things. But meeting Wilt Chamberlain told me to keep working hard and continue trying to be the best. And I took that like a super wow. Here's a guy who scored 100 points and done so much for the game of basketball and sports in general that, here he's giving me tips and pointers on how to better myself. And told me I was a great young man, and I just walked away. I think I said, "Thank you, Mr. Chamberlain," and walked off, and I'll never forget that day in Cleveland.
My inspiration, I think, as I was growing up. I grew up watching NC State. I was a David Thompson fan. I enjoyed the way he played, his aggressiveness, his scoring capabilities. And at 6'4", being able to play his game above the rim was truly amazing for any kid to watch. The whole term and the whole measuring of vertical leap began, I think, with David Thompson. He vaulted off the ground, exploded off the ground. 44 inches was a lot. It still is a lot. You can tell when he was there on above you, he surprised
Who
you.
was your favorite player growing up, Dominique?
Like most guys during our era, my favorite player was Doc.
Yeah.
To this day. Doc was the grandfather of us all for what we did as small forwards. came out of Dr. J.
You know, I appreciate what he done for the game and allowed me to be who I am in the game of basketball. So
He's not quitting. He's still playing. So you're going to keep playing.
Bernard King and Dr. J.
You admitted that you lied on a couple of people just to get an attitude about them and to destroy them on purpose. Why would you do something like that, Shaq?
Because David Robinson was my favorite guy. When I was in high school, I tried to pattern a little bit of my game out. Because, you know, David liked to run like a stallion. When I was young, I used to like to run. But he was too nice for me to beat up. So I just had to made up that he didn't give me an autograph so I could be mad and just try to destroy him. And I did.
Yeah. I stopped playing basketball because of him. You know, I had the cornrows, I had the headband. I used to be short back then and skinny. You know, I just wanted to be like Allen Iverson. You know, I've watched a bunch of documentaries of Allen Iverson, and he said he wanted to be MJ. Like, I wanted to be Allen Iverson growing up, man. You know, I've never had the chance to bother him and stuff because that's not who I am. But now that I had the opportunity to see him, I had to tell him.
Moses is singularly the greatest influence in my NBA career. He taught me how to work hard. I call him Dad.
You touched earlier about you saw my ascension. I remember at practice I said, Moses, can I come see you in your condo tonight? And I thought he was going to give me some positive encouragement. But I said, Mo, why am I not getting to play? Well, young fella, you fat and you lazy. I said, excuse me, I can't hear you. He said, you fat and you lazy. And I was like, for real? He said, Charles, you can't play basketball at 300 pounds in the NBA. And he says, you're just too big. He said, you can't work hard enough, you can't sustain it. And I said, wow. And then I went downstairs and cried like I should have.
Got a cheeseburger.
Yeah. I did. I just thought I was crying. It shook me up. It did, it shook me up. And then he called me later and said, hey, if you want to get in shape, I'll help you. And man, that changed the whole trajectory of my career.
It's a physical game, for one thing. And you never want somebody to have an advantage over you.
Oh, I grew up in Chicago, so Michael Jordan every day, every night. I always pretend I was hitting the game winners that he hit and all the moves he did.
Why?
Just because he was the greatest player and because he was playing for my hometown team. I loved the Bulls when I was growing up, and he was the best player, and he was a two-guard. So I grew up wanting to be that, and I just tried to do everything he did when I was young.
Your favorite five over the years, over the history that you liked when you seen him play?
You know, the total NBA?
Yeah, the total NBA. From when you played to now, who was your favorite five? Not your top five, but just your favorite five.
Well, I'm going to say Jordan. Let's see, Elgin Baylor. The kid out of Golden State now, Curry. Jerry West.
A lot of buckets. Jerry West, the logo.
And Will. Both he and Bill Russell.
Yeah.
And then you know, I mean, when Shaq came on to play great, you know, I mean, there's a great succession of great basketball players who came on. I know I'm going to miss a few guys, but it's just wonderful to see great athletes perform in difficult situations, you know.
Yeah.
And I forgot something a moment ago, which I just thought of while I'm mentioning great basketball players. The one and only, LeBron
James, LeBron James.
Tremendous basketball player, man.
Great.
My favorite player of all time is Michael Jordan. A lot of other incredible players I know, frankly, been involved with, but to me, epitomizes what I think is great in basketball. Someone who can play both ends of the court. His teams win. In the last quarter, he's going to be there. But more importantly, I love Michael like a brother, okay? And get a chance to spend some time with him, so he never changes, and that's why I like him.
But some of the stuff that kid does out there, he's by far, you know, Kobe was always my favorite since I got out. His desire to win, his dedication in the off season to get better, and he's just tough. He's just a tough cat. But if you want to have fun like I did with Bill Walton, you play with LeBron.
Really?
It'd been probably more fun to play with LeBron. But if you want to win and win and win, it's
I love watching Kawhi. Going back to his days in San Antonio, I was a big Tim Duncan fan, and San Antonio having their roots in the ABA, was created a bias for me. So when Kawhi came on the scene and then he was MVP in the playoffs, I started watching him more closely. And I like what he brings to the table. I like, a lot of people don't like his demeanor, but I love his demeanor. He says something when he has something to say. If he got nothing to say, go talk to somebody else. So, he would be at the top of my list.
Is there any Vince Carter in your game? What about your game do you feel you took from it?
No, probably the passion that he plays with. He's a unique player. You can't replicate that, but the passion that stood out to me when I watched him after he dunked, after he made a big shot, and how much he loved to play. You could tell he was excited. That just made me go out there and be more free as a player when I was a kid. Because I'm just like, if he expressing himself like that, I think I can too, So I think I took that from Vince. Obviously his highlights and his athleticism stood out, but like his passion for the game is something that I really appreciated.
Magic is my idol. Simple and plain, he's my idol. Michael Jordan is probably the player that I learned from the most because being the same height, similar athleticism, I was able to learn a lot on a skill level. But Magic Johnson was my favorite player and still is my favorite player to ever play.
Favorite player growing up was Reggie Miller, actually. My dad probably be mad. My dad was obviously my favorite player. He loved to see my pops play, but I love watching Reggie, just the way he moved on the court and big shots he hit, and he was just fearless. So. It was a dream come true when my dad got to go up against Reggie.